Good afternoon, everyone. We are Asia Pacific Group here in Melbourne. Today, we are presenting Philippines at Level 3 to be presented by Mr. Yizhen Zhao, our registered migration. He has 10 years of experience as a registered migration agent. And we're here to discuss the status of Philippines, which has gone down to Level 3. So just a disclaimer, the content of this webinar is for information purposes only, whilst every effort has been made to ensure the accuracy of the materials contained here and incorporated by reference. This presentation is not intended to constitute legal or immigration advice. So it's a case-to-case basis. It depends on your background and such. So this is why Mr. Zach is here to present PowerPoint and the topic for to know more about the Philippines at Level 3. Zach?
Hi, thanks for having me. Yes, my name is Zach. Yeah, I've been doing this for quite a long time, and this is my 10th year as a migration agent. Recently, Department of Home Affairs in Australia made a lot of things more difficult than before, and especially student visa. So what is student visa? When you have a student visa, what can you do? It can allow you to study a course, eligible course in Australia. It can allows you to travel in and out Australia. It also allows you to work up to 48 hours per fortnight when course are in session, or unlimited hours when you are in little school breaks. And it's a temporary visa, which can grant up to 5 years. Having a student visa is really considered as the first step of your migration pathway. A lot of people, most of the people, including myself, started on a student visa, and eventually we found our permanent residency solution. In my experience, I can tell that most of the people, more than half of the people, got their permanent residency pathway starting from a student visa. Next. How to become eligible for a student visa? You have to be on a certain age. Just to be accurate here, there's no hard age requirement for student visa. Last year I helped a nurse from Nigeria getting a student visa when she's about to turn 50, and we can still achieve a visa. But the older you get, the less likely you will be granted a student visa, because obviously there is a study age. It's people prime their study capacity in their 20s and in their early 30s. And since when you grow younger, almost department will think you are less genuine or fully committed student. That's why, as a guideline, we say that bachelor degree or master degree, we recommend people to be under 32 years of age. Here's another reason that after your student visa, you will need to apply for a 485 visa, and it has an age requirement, which we'll explain later. For you to have Australian student visa, you also have to be enrolled in a cry course accredited course. So cry course is a system, in simple words, it's a system designed for overseas students. All the overseas students eligible course are called cry course, and you need to enroll in one of the cry course before you can, or at least get an offer letter under some circumstance in order to apply for a student visa. Well, make a welfare arrangement if you are under 18 years of age. So if you are still in school age, you need to have a guardian. A guardian needs to be your relative of to some extent, and need to be in Australia to look after you. It only applies to people under 18 years of age. You have to meet minimal English requirements. You have adequate health insurance. You have to have enough money for you to stay and study in Australia. You have to cover your living cost, your study cost, and also your travel cost. We'll run through how much money you are expecting later. You have to be a genuine student. You have to buy by saying you have to be a genuine student, you need to prove that you are you have to make a case why you want to study in Australia. What do you want to do after studying in Australia? What's why you want to study in Australia other than other countries? And what's the benefit to you? How kind of understanding do you have to Australia? So basically you have to make a case and persuade the case officer. Lastly, you have to meet the character and health requirements. Be a hardcore criminal and expect a visa in Australia. Next page, please. This is what we mean about for level 3. So every country and every school has a risk assessment. It's a matrix. So for example, if you are from a level 1 school and level 2 school and you're applying for a level 3 you're from a level 2 country and you're applying for a level 3 school, your risk rating will be 2 times 3 and 6. 6 is the bigger it gets, the bigger the risk is, and the harder the application will be. And the department will be more likely to actually consider refusing your application. And here, these are the factors they consider. Don't worry too much about the weight percentage because it's not rocket science. I mean, maybe in their back room there's a computing everything, but to us, we just have to know the risk rating. So basically, these are evaluated by looking at the visa cancellation rate. For example, if a school recruited, if 10 Filipino clients came to Australia and 2 of them got a visa canceled, the risk rating will be 20%, and that's bad. And next one, visa refusals due to a fraud reason. So when you make your application, you provided fraudulent documents, definitely it's bad. And as you can see, it's 40% of the weight because honesty is more important than most of the things on this list. Next is rate of refusals for regular reasons. That has a 10% of the rating because when application, let's say the case officer refuses you, it's just the honest opinion. I believe I am eligible for this visa. You disagree with it. It's just a different opinion. It's not end of the world. And also, risk of the student visa holders become unlawful non-citizen or if they apply for protection visa. So basically, if 10 of the Filipino clients came to Australia, 2 of them become unlawful non-citizen, he or she just overstayed their visa without going home or applying for a new visa. That's bad. They give you 50. And also, if you come here and applying for a protection visa, that's also why is applying for protection visa bad? Technically, legally, it's not bad, but when you come to Australia on a student visa, your purpose should be coming here to study. If you change your purpose and say that I seek protection, that's changing of you are changing in Australia. Yeah, changing your purpose to come to Australia, then that's against the student visa rules. If a provider and or a passport level are considered low risk, the application will be easier and the requirement checklist is also shorter. You may not be required to provide evidence of English or show money. Next page, please. Thank you. We have a document checklist tool. I want to show you. This is the page. Basically, it's on the official website. What you have to do is you just provide your country and your education provider of the school, and choose your circumstance, and the system will tell you what kind of documents you will be required to apply for this visa. It's actually very straightforward, and you don't have to worry about how to use this tool because our admission officers will help you inside Australia and offshore. We can help you to use this tool and choose a school for you and tell you what kind of documents you are going to be required. The most critical things are if your risk rating is too high, you may have to provide evidence of your English language skills and also your what we call show money, your funds prepared for this. Next page, please. So as mentioned, we are very concerned about the English requirement and the funding requirement. Let's cover the English first. So as you, there will be an English requirement if you study in Australia. If you study, last, not very long ago, they just increased requirement by half a point in IELTS and the equivalent in PTE. Basically, if you want to be, just 1 second, yeah, if you want to study certain levels, for example, bachelor degree, you have to provide a certain level of English. And if you're studying a diploma level, you have to provide a certain level of English. But as I said, if your country rating and the school rating, the high risk rating is not too high, if the checklist says you don't need to provide English, more often than not, you don't have to worry about English. You can just declare that I have sufficient English skills for the study. And when assessing the application, the case officer may not just ask for for example, your English test result at all. But of course, they also have the power to subpoena or request English result. That's something we have to deal with in the real life scenarios. Next page, please. Next one is the funding requirement. I would like to pass this page to Bianca, and she will explain what kind of funding requirements you and how much money you need to show.
Okay, so for evidence of financial capacity, you have to provide your 1 year proof of living expenses or personal living expenses, which equates to 24,505, and then your return airfare of 2,000, and at least 1 year of tuition fee. So for example, you are taking a higher education course, which is bachelor's or master's. The 1 year tuition fee will, depending on the course, it will be around 30,000. So a total of show money requirement would equate to around 40,000 to 50,000 for higher education. For diploma courses or vet courses, it will be starting around 35 Australian dollars.
There are some more details about provide funding. For example, usually we can expect the funding to be provided by your parents or your spouse. But under some circumstances, it can also be your Australian local relatives, for example, your aunt, uncle, and siblings.
But it must be the first degree, so it shouldn't be far level relative. So
Yeah.
it must be for example, your mother's sibling or your father's sibling.
Yes, cannot be too far distant.
Yeah.
Relative. And also, if you are seeking financial support from Australian relative, it has to be saving. You cannot use their income to meet this requirement. Income requirement can only be met by parents and or spouse. Right. Yeah. We'll help you going through how to provide the evidence. For example, how to prove your relationship with the sponsor, and what kind of documents from the bank is required, what kind of currency we're talking about, and how much money we have to calculate. We'll calculate for you. We'll provide you a matrix. Next page, please. Where are we? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. This is the calculation. As Bianca just mentioned previously, the student or guardian, the main applicant, they have to provide a living cost of $24,505. So that's what a government believes that how much it costs to live in Australia, and the partner will cost $8,574 because they don't have to pay the accommodation twice. So it's much cheaper to add a dependent. We will address questions later. Let's just finish go through the information first, and we'll address your questions later. And if they have a child to come with us, each child under 18 will cost $3,670. By the way, the child over 18 cannot be included in the student visa application, so they have to have their individual student visa if they choose to study. And the next thing you have to add is 12 months tuition fee, as Bianca mentioned. For example, if you have a course of 2 years, and the whole tuition fee is $50,000. The next 12-month tuition fee will be $25,000. And schooling cost of dependence. For example, if you add a child in the application, and the child is in the school age, they have to pay the school fee, or you have to show the money, show enough funds to cover the school fee. Each state may have a different tuition fee that we have to assess individually. And last thing is the travel cost. If you are inside Australia, the travel cost is $1,000 per person, because you have to buy a return ticket to overseas. If the application is, or if the applicant is overseas, you have to buy two-way tickets. We calculate $2,000 per person. So you have to add all these numbers together and come to a number, for example, X. That's how much money you have to provide in Australian dollars. You can use any other currency. For example, you can have it in US dollars. Just convert it using the on that date's currency exchange rate. That will be fine. It can be in any financial institute. It doesn't have to be in Australia. It can be in any other state, in any other bank accounts. But we do recommend you to have the money sitting in the bank account for at least 3 months. Sometimes they come back at us and then ask, so say the money suddenly appeared in your account, and we don't believe that money is for your disposal. So sometimes they make additional requests saying we need to show where the money is from, and to prove that you do have access to that money. Next page, please. This is the continuation of evidence of financial capacity. I think we already covered most of this page. Yeah, family members who apply after we have granted your visa. Okay, so for example, if you apply, if you are a student visa holder and you want to apply your wife or husband on the same visa, the show money becomes compulsory. Every single one, doesn't matter of your risk rating, you always have to show money. Use the calculation we provided in the previous page. And relative has to be, next one is relative. Relative has to be close relative. For example, spouse and partner, and parents. If it's spouse, partner, parents, they never ask for us to show, for example, the commitment. But if it's uncle, aunt, or siblings, they will ask you to show the commitment. Usually you have to provide a statement saying something like, this is a very close relative. I feel obligated to, obliged to provide funding for him or her to study. But here I am making this affidavit or statutory declaration, pledging myself for sponsoring applicant's study. So you need to persuade the case officer that there's a case and it's reasonable for this person to provide funding to the applicant. And we have to be very careful. For example, we've seen a refusal where the relative is uncle, but uncle usually resides in the States, not in Australia. The department thinks that why it's somewhat unreasonable for someone who's not in Australia to provide Australian schooling, and they eventually decide to refuse the application. So we have to be very careful making these type of assessments. If someone is sponsoring, need following. Yeah. For the sponsorship evidence, we need to provide the relationship. For example, if it's parents, we need to provide a birth certificate to show the parental relationship. If it's spouse, we need to provide the marriage certificate or any other evidence to show that they are in a partner relationship. We have to provide, usually we connect the applicant and the sponsor by link their birth certificate. For example, if it's aunt, we provide aunt's birth certificate and the mother's birth certificate to show that they have the same parents, and also the birth certificate of the applicant to show that the mother is actually the mother. So in connecting the aunt to the applicant, we need 3 birth certificates. Yeah, once again, we will show you what to do in real life cases. If this financial support provided involve the business, provided proof of the business is operating. Yeah, sometimes the money can be shown from a business, but it has to be we have to be very careful because we need to show a few things. first, the ownership of the business. The business can be owned by many people, so we need to show that the decision maker or the board of the business or shareholders of the business unanimously agree to sponsor this person using the business assets. Also, we need to show that business is operating, so we need to show the financial reports or tax return to show that the business is actually alive and healthy and has the funds. It's not a dead business or inactive business just to deposit the funds. That will not work. So my advice is be very, very careful when you have to use a business as a sponsor. It's way more complicated than individual sponsors. Next page, please. Okay, remember we in the criteria page we mentioned that it has to be the applicant has to be a genuine student, and we have to make a case. Recently, last month actually, about 1 month ago, they changed the assessment criteria from a single statement of genuine temporary entrance statement to a list of questions. But essentially, they're still asking the same thing, that you make a case that why you want to study in Australia, what's benefit for you, and how it's affordable and reasonable. They just break down from a very big statement into small questions, so it's easier for assessment. But in my we are still waiting for the cases to come back to us and see the department attitude. But our current understanding is the assessment criteria is very similar. It's just easier to read because I guess nobody wants to read a very long statement. It's much easier to answer small questions. It's easier to deliver a message, provide information, and send the message. Next page, please. Yeah, okay, so since last month, they changed from a long GTE statement into small questions, and depends on where you are from, what your backgrounds are. There are different questions, so there are variations. For example, if you are applying from overseas, never came to Australia, they will not ask you what's your Australia history because it's not relevant. The system will tell you which questions you need to answer, and you need to answer them. We will help you as well. We will tell you which questions when preparing for the visa application. We'll tell you which questions you need to answer and how you answer them. And also we can make some amendments if we see fit, seeking your approval. On this page, you can see a list of questions. This is typically for onshore application in Australia, and with some background in the education or employment. Yeah, for the purpose of this webinar, the content of the question does not matter that much. We'll help you and we'll provide you your question list when you apply for a visa. Obviously the answers must be written in English and maximum of 150 words per question. So as I said, they are trying to make the information straight to the point instead of rambling 2,000 words per question. They limit things into 150 words. So you have to go straight to the point. Next page, please. Yeah, that's a list of questions. That's how the page looks like, but depends on your previous answers. They may throw different questions at you. This is just a sample questions, and in the future, who knows? The department may amend the question. They do have the power to ask you different questions, and there is always an open question at the end. Say, what else do you think is relevant? This is the second last question. If you read it, give details of any other relevant information the applicant would like to include or address. So this is a very open question, and this gives you an opportunity to make your case. If you have something for you and it's not covered in previous the other questions, this is your opportunity to make a case. And if it's 150 words is too short, you can always provide a statement included in the application. So here you can just answer, please refer to my statement, which will be submitted, and later on submitted a final statement. And that's because we still have this question. I'm gonna say the assessment criteria is pretty much the same because the question is still open for you to address. Next page, please. Okay, I would like to leave the pass the floor to Bianca.
So for applying student visas, we have this thing called Australian Qualifications Framework. So for vet courses, certificate 3, it's at level, AQF is level 3. And then certificate 4 is at level 5. Diploma is at AQF level 5. Associate degree is at AQF level 6. Bachelor's degree is at AQF level 7. Vocational graduate certificate or graduate diploma is at level 8. And master's degree is at level 9. So when taking up these courses in Australia, if you graduated bachelor's degree in Philippines, it is always much better if you apply for higher AQF level in Australia, because the proper way of studying is to get higher certificates or higher level of schooling. So if you finish bachelor's, the proper way to study in Australia is to take up master's or graduate diploma certificate. Yep, Zach, would you like
Okay,
to
yeah,
have
sure.
visa?
Yes,
Student visa. Would you
Sure.
like to add?
Yes. Yes, for the student visa, usually, as I mentioned previously, that's the starting point. And after student visa, many of you will have the opportunity to apply for a 45 visa. I consider this as a bridge leading to permanent residency. What does it do? Once you finish the student visa, you will have a qualification, but that's pretty much it. You will also need to prepare English, the work experience, skill assessment, a lot of things before you can apply for PR, permanent residency. And this 45 visa is the opportunity for you to stay in Australia, get some work experience, get the skill assessment or some relevant assessments done inside Australia, and prepare yourself for permanent residency. So the biggest change that we are expecting is that at the moment, the visa the age requirement for this visa is under 50 years of age at the time of application. But department announced that they intend to change the age requirement to 35. That's also why we mentioned that in the earlier pages that we want the most student applicants to be under 32, because you need at least 2 years to 3 years to finish your bachelor or master degree. And by the time you finish, you want to be safe and younger than under 35 years line, so you can apply for this visa and be comfortably applying for permanent residency. There are two streams of this visa. One is called graduate stream. So these are for the trade workers. If you are working as a trade worker, for example, as a chef or carpenter or bricklayer or engine mechanic, light vehicle mechanic, you can apply for this visa after you finish your 2-year study. This visa will give you this stream will give you 1.5 years on this visa and allow you to do the skill assessment called job ready program. Once you finish this, you will be able to apply for permanent residency with a skill assessment. I know it's confusing. Don't worry, we'll hold your hands and step by step until the end. At the moment, what you need to know is you can come here to study. Once you finish your study, you get a 1.5 years visa, and there will be a program you need to do. Come to us, and we'll help you to enroll this program and finish this program, leading to permanent residency. There's another stream called PSW, so post-study work stream. This is for people who finish the bachelor degree or higher, bachelor, master in research, doctor's degree. If you finish these list of degrees and the study is no less than 2 years, you will be eligible for PSW stream. It's similar to graduate stream, but it's granted for 2 years, sometimes even longer. I think they are going to put move back to 2 years in the long run, but at the moment you can still have some extensions. You have the opportunity to have visas longer than 2 years. Once again, once you have this visa, you will have the opportunity to do the assessment, test your English, get work experience, position yourself for permanent residency. Next page, please. In March, they just changed the English requirement. There's a list of requirements. Basically, they increased half point in IELTS, and they made the PTE very strange. They require, if you look at the PTE test, it requires different marks for each band. So 43 in listening, 48 in reading, 42 in speaking, and 51 in writing. I have no idea why they do this, but this is the law, so you have to follow. It might be easier just take the IELTS test and remember you need 6.5 in overall and 5.5 in each band. This might be easier, but you can take any of the tests on this list and meet the English requirement. Just remember, there is another very important change after March. The validity of the English test is now 1 year instead of 3 years. So no matter how your English test results are at the time of entering the study, you probably need a new one. So be prepared at the end of your school, towards the end of your course, look for and pass the test. Next page, please. Okay, that's the information we want to provide to you. I just want to address a little bit more about the qualification. Hang on, I think I have a little bit to add on this page. So for the AQF level, Austrian Qualification Framework level, just a little bit to add. So the higher the AQF level is, the easier student visa will be considered. For example, bachelor degree will always be more likely to be granted than a diploma degree. This is because the study is higher, more difficult, more expensive. It shows your commitment. And so is a master degree in research. It will always have, okay, always is the wrong word, but more often than not, it has a better chance of getting visa granted. So when you consider what to study, also put the AQF level into consideration before you make the decision. Thanks. Okay, Q&A time. So that's the information we want you to understand, and we are open for questions. I see chats.
I think there's question in the chat box.
Yes, I can see that there are chats. Hello, Zach. Okay, let's go through the question one by one. Yes, if you are over 32 years of age, you will have lower points when you assess as towards DOI. But there are a lot of other migration pathways that does not really involve the point test system. For example, the employment visa, you just need to have 2 years experience and be sponsored. You don't have to worry about your points as long as you are under 45 by the time for PR application. So yes, it's a very good point, but there are ways to bypass the 42 years age problem. We still put it 42 because that 45 visa may require you to be under 32, 35 at the time of application. So this is a very realistic problem if the department really implement this change.
This one's up, this one.
Okay. So Zach.
Just wanted to ask, I'm currently a student in Deakin taking bachelor's in nursing.
Yeah.
I'm turning 38 this year. With the recent changes on the graduate visa, what are my options after I graduate?
Okay, so first of all, remember what I said was department intends to roll out this change, but it's not confirmed. If you look at their roadmap, the initial plan was to roll out this change, I quote, early 2024. And early 2024, I believe, ends at the end of March. So it hasn't come out yet. They made a lot of changes in 485 visa, but this age requirement didn't change. The reason is that they did get a very big backlash for proposing this change, and I personally believe it's quite unreasonable. So I still believe there's a chance they will put some conditions. For example, if you have enrolled a course before a certain date, or if you graduate before a certain date, we will allow you to apply for 485 visa. So they very likely they will put on some conditions and still allow most of the people who potentially started their journey before the change will allow these people to finish their journey as planned or as intended. Otherwise, it's quite unfair. However, let's talk about the worst case scenario. The difference between nurses and a lot of other occupations is that for nurse to get a migration pathway, you don't need to have work experience. So once you finish, you can be eligible. Once you finish and get an Australian qualification as a bachelor degree, you will be eligible for registration. And once you have registration, you can be eligible for skill assessment. I acknowledge it takes time, but it's not a very long time, like 1 year, 2 years work experience. So once you finish your study, you may be able to apply for a student visa extension, for example, a master degree or graduate diploma in nurse management or some sort of management course by yourself in 1 year time. When the 485 visa is not available to you, just by yourself in 1 year time and use that time, you will be able to get a skill assessment graduation, registration, skill assessment, and then you will be able to apply for skilled visa, including 189, 190. And if we look at the past history, nurses are quite straight. Invitation are not hard to come by for nurses, not that hard to come by, and most of the people with minimum points as registered nurses are invited either by state government or federal government. I'm talking about even before the pandemic, and after the pandemic, the demand for nurses are higher, not lower, but higher. So it's looking good, even if they implement the 35 years age requirement for 485 visa. Okay. As the disclaimer say, we will provide individual advice if you come to us. We highly encourage you to come to us, and we can tailor a pathway for you with minimum cost of time and money.
Next question from Miss Anna. My son recently graduated with a bachelor's degree in February. His student visa is still valid till May 2025. Will he be allowed to leave Australia to visit Manila for 2 weeks this May, then return to Australia to apply for his postgraduate visa?
Yes, yes, and this may graduate in Feb. So how do I say? I don't recommend it. This is because your son finished the study in February, and the visa is way too long in May. We are already in late April, so it's been more than 60 days, and basically he starts to breach his visa condition as that he needs to maintain a reasonable study on the level. Yeah. So if he departs Australia, there's a chance that the case officer may consider canceling his student visa, or when he returns to Australia, the border officer may cancel his visa at the immigration clearance, because technically he is breaching his visa conditions. I'm not saying it's a high risk, but I don't think it's worth risking. And my recommendation is, since he has already graduated, if he has English English result ready, just apply for a graduate visa and apply for a bridging visa B to depart Australia, come back to Australia after 2 weeks. It's much safer this way than just go and come back and test the luck.
So yes, Miss Anna, to answer your question, do you suggest he applies for the postgraduate visa before he leaves? Yes, it is much better to apply 485 before he goes back to the Philippines.
Yes, correct.
Next question from Jonah Bell. Hi guys, if I study a master degree by coursework, will my spouse get the full or part-time work rights?
Even if you study master degree, your spouse has full-time work rights. It's in the visa condition. It doesn't matter if it's coursework or research, as long as it's master degree or higher, the spouse of the visa applicant can get full-time work rights. By full-time, I mean unlimited work hours. There is one thing you need to remember. If the course hasn't started, the work permission does not kick in. There has to be you have to wait until the course actually starts. And then the main applicant has part-time work permission and the spouse has unlimited work permission. This is a very good, important to know how much work you can do, what kind of visa conditions you are facing and comply to the visa conditions. This is always important because you don't want a visa cancellation or at least a minimum be threatened to cancel a visa because that can be very bad.
Do you have any other more questions? You can type it in the chat box below, so you can have a consultation with Mr. Zach.
Hi. Or you can just chat. You can just ask
Yeah.
questions, use the microphone. Happy to talk to
From
you.
Limwell, is there a chance for a degree holder to change a career and take a vet course only?
The question is if there's a chance, the answer is yes, but you have to be very careful because remember the AQX level we mentioned, you are downgrading your study. You're downgrading your study, so you have to make a very strong case of why this new study is relevant to you or beneficial to you. And the department sometimes will be putting more focus on why you are downgrading because downgrading to a diploma or vet course level, meaning that the course will not be very demanding. The enrollment requirement will be much more relaxed, and also the course fee will be cheap. It shows but at least in the case officer's mind, it shows a very weak commitment. Yeah, so you have to make a very strong case. For example, if you have we recently had a client who studied a bachelor in hospitality management and came to Australia to study cookery. Yes, and study cookery, and we can make a case because, for example, I'm not a manager. I'm more a hands-on guy. I want to study the technical skills. Or after pandemic, the economy is not so good, and it's way risky for me to open a restaurant. But it makes way better sense to work for some restaurant, kitchen manager or chef. So you have to make a case like this, persuade the case officer. Again, to answer your question, the answer is yes, but with a lot of caveats.
From Uni, hello, I'm planning to take diploma of nursing. What are my visa options after I finish my diploma?
If you study diploma nursing, your visa options will be well, technically, once you finish, you will not be eligible for 485 visa. I'll tell you what you're not eligible for. You are not eligible for 485 visa because it's not a training course. It's
The occupation enrolled nurse
Yeah.
is on their short-term list.
yes,
So only
Registered.
occupations on their medium to long-term list are
eligible
eligible for
yeah,
the 485.
visa graduate work stream. So you are not eligible for 485 visa. So what can you do? You can most likely extend your student visa to study something else. And we do recommend you consider the study of a registered nurse. So you still have better chance and the visa is reasonable of you're not changing your career. It's reasonable for you to grant for you to expect a visa grant. And also, if things doesn't work out, you can always become a registered nurse, but once again, it's a very, we can have individual discussion towards the end of your student visa or diploma in nursing. And we can tell you what we think and what we recommend you to do at that point. It's a little early to tell.
I'm from Exor. Hi, I'm currently on a student visa and my course started this Feb. My visa expires on April, but my course ends in August. Do I need to provide show money? Also, how much do I need to provide?
Do you want to take care of this one?
So for this one, if your visa is expiring August, sorry, if your visa is expiring April and your course ends in August, you have to extend our student visa extension. For the show money, you have to provide 4 months show money, and then So the living expenses, the 24,505 should be divided by a quarter. And then add that to remaining tuition fee expenses and still the return airfare.
Correct. Well, thanks, Bianca. So, as she was saying, so, for the school costs, for the school, tuition fee, you have to pay for the remaining of the tuition fee. The biggest difference is for the living cost, you just have to pay the, prepare the proportion of the next 12 months. For example, if it's 4 months, you probably have to prepare 5 months because you want your student visa to expire at least 1 month after your study. You have some time. But just the same proportion of the expected student visa, you don't have to prepare the full 12 months of show money. I see.
From Uni IC, thank you. Can I proceed to bachelor's in nursing with reduced time because of my diploma? As a registered nurse, will I then be eligible for 485 visa?
Correct and correct. You can, that's a question for Bianca, but I'm not expert in admission, but my understanding is.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for diploma in nursing courses, you can package it with bachelor's of nursing. The original study time for bachelor's of nursing is 3 years, but if you take diploma in nursing, they will credit some units from the diploma in nursing, thus shortening the bachelor's of nursing to 2 years. In total, diploma in nursing plus bachelor's in nursing will be around 3.5 years. And yes, you will be eligible for the 485 visa if you take the bachelor's in nursing.
Yes. And you probably will need 6 months or 12 months before you can to prepare yourself for a permanent residency invitation. Yeah, it's a very tried and proven pathway.
Yeah, and also it's not easy to get a slot for a bachelor's in nursing.
Yeah, true.
So mostly it's a package course. So you have to take diploma of nursing while waiting for the slot in bachelor's in nursing, because mostly all of the schools are already full for this year. So I think the available intake will be next year or
By next
2026 for the other schools.
Yes. The capacity is a real issue when it comes to nursing. You have to plan ahead.
So if you want to take up nursing course, you have to apply as soon as possible because slots are getting full very fast. Any other more questions? From Miss Jaire, if I already have a master's degree, but I want to take a second one, will it be allowed, even if it's for a double major master's?
Once again, the case officer will try to make sense of it. If they believe it's reasonable, yeah, you can do that. But then again, you have to really make your case and you have to, for example, if you have a double degree, these two has to be somewhat connected or connected by themselves or connected through your career. And you have to make your case. But to answer your question, yes, it is allowed. There's no law saying you can't do it. But yeah, once again, make your case. And based on the information you provide me, I don't have any additional to say because I don't know what's your plan and what you have completed. Once again, happy to have a one-on-one session. Just reach out to us, send us an email or book for a consultation. More than happy to look at your profile, look at your resume, and provide you some opinions.
Is there any questions? So if you don't have any questions, or if you want a detailed discussion with Zach or Bianca, or if you have any case that needs explanation from Zach, so you can email us at c6@asiapacificgroup.com or visa8@asiapacificgroup.com.
Yeah, by all means, reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you and discuss your case, tell you what we think, and give you a plan of what to do and calculate what you need. For example, how much money you need to prepare, what kind of English you need to prepare. More than happy to do that for each and every one of you. And once again, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, so if you need assessment, it's better for you to prepare your resume so that once you send it to us, you can already assess your profile and give you whatever you need. And just put your questions in the email so that we can answer it one by one. So for detailed discussion, again, you can email us at c6asiapacificgroup.com or visa8@asiapacificgroup.com.
All right,
Yeah,
thank you
thank
for
you.
this insightful discussion. Thank you, Zach, for discussing the Philippines at level 3. Once again, we are Asia Pacific Group, and have a nice afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.